Class has been hollowed out. Once thriving cities and towns that many of you represent became shadows of what they used to be.
One by one, the factories shuttered and left our shores, with not even a thought about the millions and millions of American workers that were left behind.
My economic plan is about investing in places and people that have been forgotten. We're going to buy American. We're going to buy America.
We will follow two simple rules: buy American and hire American.
Buy America has been the law since 1933, but for too long, past administrations, Democrat and Republican, have fought to get around it.
Those were just a few of the similarities between President Biden's State of the Union address last night and former President Trump's inauguration speech in 2017. For more on that, CBS News senior White House and political correspondent Ed O'Keefe joins me here in D.C. Look, we're not saying the speeches were the same, but what I think is interesting there, Ed, is for the Democratic Party, since 2016, there has been this concerted effort to try to find a way to reclaim the rhetoric of white working-class voters, white non-college educated voters in America. And the statistics are telling for the Democrats. Exit poll data from the 2022 midterm. They lost white non-college voters 66-32. They made up 39% of the voting population. In 2020, Democrats lost them 67-32 to Trump, 35% of the electorate. It seemed to me, listening to that last night, there was an attempt by the White House and the president to reach into some of that language that doesn't sound too far from former President Trump.
And in some ways, Trump had been taking it from Democrats, and that was part of what worked for him in 2016.
And he sort of owned that space for a while. It seems like Democrats are trying to claw it back a little bit.
Because they understand if you're going to lose a place like Florida, let's say going forward, if you have no hope in Ohio, then you've got to make that appeal to voters in Pennsylvania, Ohio, or not, well, Michigan, Wisconsin, and then, New Hampshire and a few others where those voters exist and serve up about a fourth of the, 30% or more of the electorate. And so, yes, this is a concerted effort by a guy who, as he likes to remind us, grew up in Scranton, Pennsylvania, watched his father struggle the way that many Americans struggle today, and is sensitive to bringing back those voters and saying, this big tent of mine can stretch from urban America, from Latino and black voters, all the way back to those white voters that we used to rely on more.
Exactly. And there was something else last night in the Republican response I want to highlight for both of us. First of all, we're going to listen to what Sarah Huckabee Sanders, the governor of Arkansas, age 40, new generation Republican leaders, as she said, talked about America and its relationship to culture. And then we're going to play a soundbite from the Republican National Committee convention in 1992 from Patrick Buchanan. Listen to them both carefully.
The Biden administration seems more interested in woke fantasies than the hard reality Americans face every day. Most Americans simply want to live their lives in freedom and peace. But we are under attack in a left-wing culture war we didn't start and never wanted to fight.
Friends, this election is about more than who gets what. It is about who we are. It is about what we believe and what we stand for as Americans. There is a religious war going on in this country. It is a cultural war as critical to the kind of nation we shall be as the Cold War itself, for this war is for the soul of America.
Ed O'Keefe, I ask you, you heard the same words I heard.
Yeah.
Religious war, culture war, that's 1992. I'm not saying that's the first shot fired, but I think the governor of Arkansas has a hard time saying we didn't start it and we don't want to fight it.
Right. And look, it's working for her, for Ron DeSantis, to some extent in Virginia with Glenn Youngkin. This is a base motivating exercise. It's something that grabs headlines. It stirs the pot. It allows them to look tough on not only the culture wars, but then on education policy and how, police conduct their jobs and whether or not businesses are going to be able to do or say certain things or not do or say certain things. And, she is somebody who's been mentioned as a potential running mate, or at least a national factor going forward. And so if she's going to be talking about these kinds of things and implementing a conservative policy agenda, it certainly allows for that. But she's speaking to something that is very popular and very evident right now in Republican politics. What I wonder, if it's so popular on Fox and then the Newsmax and One America space, if you were somebody watching on any other channel last night who doesn't listen to this stuff, doesn't hear about it as often as somebody who's a big fan of Governor Sanders would, what did you make of what she was talking about last night?
And is that something that is front and center for you?
Right.
And it's worth pointing out, Ed, from a historical perspective, the battle lines as Pat Buchanan drew them in 1992 about this religious and culture war were women serving in the military and same-sex marriage. There is now a bipartisan consensus on both. He was saying part of the 92 campaign was fighting against both those things. Well, it would appear if you are a warrior in that culture battle, those battles have been lost.
Right.
And the Republicans keep losing ground on this, but keep fighting with a kind of intensity, rhetorical and otherwise.
But it's moved on to transgender rights. It's moved on to abortion rights to some extent, and moved on to what our children are seeing, doing, and being taught generally. That's where we are.
And based on what you saw last night at the State of the Union, how far away do you think the nation is from a official announcement from President Biden?
Still a few weeks for this reason. We know that there are Democrats still talking to the White House about what role they might play.
In the campaign?
Yes. I talked to some of them last week in Philadelphia when the Democrats were gathered for their winter meeting, and they said, I'm still waiting to have my meeting about what role I would play in either a campaign or at the DNC or in some kind of super PAC. So while the general intent is there and consensus that he'll do it, it's now down to staffing, timing, and, general themes, and then questions of strategy. How exactly to campaign going forward, knowing that he did it pretty successfully from his basement back in 2020.
Just remember, folks, before you have a re-election campaign, you got to have a meeting. Ed O'Keefe, thank you very much.